Talking about my portfolio today, my portfolio constructs of roughly these four elements. There would be some other elements also, but broadly, the major contributors in my portfolio are these four. I have a huge chunk in stocks and mutual funds, mostly equity, very, very equity heavy guy at this point in time. Some bit of gold, got recently married, so have some kind of investments and savings put forward in gold. Have also started thinking more about how to increase my exposure to gold, how to increase my portfolio share of gold. And yes, EPFO is something, I don't know whether you count it in your portfolio, whether you count it in your net worth or not, but I do. I consider it as a retirement fund. Whatever amount of money that it is, I'm not going to touch it before I start something of my own, or I stop working. So I think broadly it is comprising of these four elements. Stocks, as everyone knows, it's a high risk high reward game. You need to learn to make money in it. Mutual fund is something where if you know that okay, market is growing, I don't have enough time, amount, energy to put in efforts to find opportunities, pockets of investment. So just you can blindly follow indices, you can blindly follow actively managed funds or even passively managed funds, and you can simply ride the market's growth that is there, easily beating Nifty. 12% kind of a CAGR is something that everyone can do. It's not rocket science. People who still fail to do it, I feel very, very sorry about that. People who don't know that beating Nifty 12% CAGR is something that is very, very easy as a job to do. But yeah, so stocks and mutual funds. Apart from that, I talked about gold and EPFO as well. So broadly, my portfolio is comprising of these four buckets. Um, Talking about how the markets have expanded and sort of exploded in the time my personal finances have existed. So as in the timeline slide, we saw that my journey started from March 2018, and we are currently in July 2024. So this is the monthly candlestick chart of Nifty. So if you look at how much Nifty has grown in this time frame, when I started investing in March 18, Nifty was hovering around 10,000. Nifty 50 we are talking about. Nifty today is around 24,324. So that's 140% or roughly 2.4x jump in a span of 6.25 years. That broadly boils down to an XIRR of 13%, which is what we were just talking about. Nifty CAGR around 12-13% ka banta hai. So this has been how Nifty has been performing. You can see there has been a lot of ups and downs in the market. The first big down or bull phase came when we experienced COVID in the early 2020s. After that, we had a very, very strong pullback and a bull phase. Then a lot of ups and downs, but the momentum of the market continued. And post the second term of Mr. Modi, we all know that entering the third term, we are going still continuing the momentum of the growth phase. And I think there is no looking back. All of these pointers, all of these Nifty values are going to become a past history and a past record now. So broadly, Nifty between March 18 to March 23, between roughly around 6 years, Nifty has jumped 2x. That boils down to an XIRR of 13%. I wanted to see this XIRR because I will talk about XIRR a lot in the kind of investment buckets that I have in my portfolio, and we can benchmark this. I really want to sort of reflect upon the choices that I made in my journey and see whether I have been able to beat the market returns over a period of time or not. So hence this XIRR of 13% is an important number for the following slides. Any questions until now, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions. We have 15 minutes into the session. I'll take 30 minutes more. Roughly one third of the session and the slides are already covered. Any questions, I'll probably take it up. Otherwise, I'll move forward. Any questions? Good to go. आवाज आ रही है सबको? Okay, cool. Moving forward. Okay. I also wanted to put down how my mutual funds have grown. So my first mutual fund was in March 2018. We are sitting at June 2024. I've broadly been from a style point of view. I've broadly been a mutual fund investor you know who is very less disciplined. I don't do SIPs. I don't do SIPs. I broadly across all this span of 6.25 years, I've mostly done buy the dips. So all these pointers that you are seeing in terms of months being marked are the step jumps on the gray line that you see. So the gray line is the principal amount, and the dark blue line is my current portfolio amount in terms of mutual funds solely. I'm currently tracking my entire mutual fund portfolio on Grow. If anyone is using Grow, you can track it. If you have mutual funds via Grow, if if you have mutual funds outside grow also, you can import all the funds and you can track the entire mutual fund portfolio in one singular place. As of today, my current portfolio is giving me an XIRR of 24%, which is very, very decent compared to Nifty XIRR of 13%. I've broadly, with the capital infusion that I've been doing on buy the dips, I've grown my portfolio size roughly about 20x in size. It doesn't really matter what the end number is or what the starting number is. It's more about how the journey has been, whether I have been able to, if I'm a buy the dip kind of a mutual fund investor, whether I have timed the market correctly or not. So broadly, if you see all these timelines and if you see the dips on the Nifty chart, you would identify that yes, broadly the dips, wherever I have taken the step jump on my principal capital being infused, those were the times where there was a significant dip in the market. So broadly, I've been a buy the dip kind of an investor, and that's how my mutual fund portfolio has been constructed and performing as of now. I really want to change some of my decision making and some of my behavior moving forward, considering I've recently got married, and now there's a mix of household income rather than my personal income that I need to think about. So that will change a lot of my investing style, a lot of my investment behavior moving forward from this financial year. Taking a snapshot. So this has been my mutual funds portfolio performance over the past 6 odd years. Talking about how my mutual fund portfolio is constructed, so I've mostly been equity heavy guy, very, very low exposure, zero to no exposure to debt. Mostly my mutual fund portfolio is either, yeah, someone else also joined. Hi Piyush, thanks for joining. Yeah, so mostly my mutual fund portfolio has been comprised of equity mutual funds, and some bit of multi cap, flexi cap, these kind of funds, and a bit of and significant amount, roughly 20-22% amount of money is into indices. So I think one thing, just to call out in terms of my mutual fund portfolio construct, as I said, I'm very, very equity heavy. I've been doing buy the dips instead of SIP. So 90% of the entire mutual fund portfolio capital has been infused on dips. I don't have SIPs as of now. My SIPs are on pause. I usually do buy the dips, and I do very, very decent chunk of money. I try to time it. Why? Because I'm a very, very active follower of market. I follow it every day. I follow my portfolio every day. I don't recommend this particular style to everyone who is not this kind of an active investor in market, or this kind of an active participant in market. अगर आप market daily नहीं देखते हो, आप अपना portfolio daily नहीं देखते हो, SIPs are the best tool that God has created or people have created for you. Please continue doing SIPs and have a very disciplined behavior in that. One thing that I've not done so far over the past 5-6 years is that I've not taken I've never taken a responsibility of rebalancing my mutual fund portfolio. So whatever mutual funds I've taken, some of them are running since very beginning. Some of them have added very recently. But broadly, मैंने अपना mutual fund कभी rebalance नहीं किया है. जो मेरे पास funds हैं, and that is why the number of funds, if you see 31, 132, and 638 funds, this is enormous. I'm very, very heavily over diversified. I know that it is a bad sign. The mutual fund portfolio returns are very, very healthy because the market has been into bull phase. I really want to rebalance my portfolio, mutual fund portfolio, so that I can safeguard it before the bear phase comes. क्योंकि bear phase आया तो मेरे 38 fund की तो वॉट लग जाएगी. So I know that the kind of behavior that I had was very, very over diversified. I've been fortunate enough to ride on the market wave and generate decent amount of returns. But one thing that I would be doing this financial year, probably at a 6-month frequency, would be to rebalance my mutual fund. How I would do it is there would be two primary indicators for me to evaluate कि कौन सा म्यूचुअल फंड कंटिन्यू करना है, कौन सा म्यूचुअल फंड कंटिन्यू नहीं करना है, या मनी रोटेट करना है. देयर वुड बी 3 की पैरामीटर्स. वन वुड बी XIRR, कि उस पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल म्यूचुअल फंड का XIRR कितना है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. व्हाट इज द TER? TER इज टोटल एक्सपेंस रेशियो. सो आई नो दैट आउट ऑफ दीज 38 फंड्स, कल को मैं अगर किसी भी म्यूचुअल फंड को सेल करता हूँ, आई वुड बी पेइंग सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ मनी टू द म्यूचुअल फंड हाउस. सो हु आर द टॉप high very expensive mutual fund houses or mutual fund schemes that I have in my portfolio. So XIRR, TER, and then overall sectoral peer performance कि यार ये वाला quant ने अपने sector में कैसा perform किया है, how other competitors have performed, would be also a very important factor to look at. So mutual fund rebalancing is something that I would be doing. I would be allotting some capital to SIPs also. I don't really want to continue with buy the dips wala behavior. I think largely it has been great. I have already infused a huge amount of money, always buying the dip. But I think I really want to carry out with a mix of SIP and buy the dip from here on, considering my personal situations and the family scenario. So I would like to move away from only buy the dips and go into a mix of both. I might operate two different mutual fund source accounts for doing two different things. For example, most of my mutual fund currently is via Grow. I might continue my Grow accounts to do buy the dips, and I might use Zerodha coin for doing SIPs. That is also a personal decision. It doesn't really matter a lot in long term. You can choose to have mix of both. If you're doing both, you can choose to have both in the same portfolio, same account. It doesn't really matter much. I want to keep performance of both the strategies very very differently. I want to track both the behavior and both the strategies differently, and that is why मेरा बाय द डिप ग्रो में चलता रहेगा और मेरी SIP जीरोधा कॉइन में चलेगी. So that's how my mutual funds portfolio construct has been in terms of type of mutual funds and sectors. Doesn't really matter much. Getting into what are the top winners of my mutual fund portfolio. So in terms of indices, these are the index funds I've been investing into. Broadly for Nifty 50, I follow two different mutual fund houses. Navi, because I have a very strong belief on Navi's management. I personally am working with ex Navi's CEO. My current boss is the ex CEO of Navi Mutual Fund. So I know how Navi is built, what Navi is doing, and how Navi will grow. So I have a lot of faith, personal faith. So this is again coming from a bias, not an investment recommendation. You can choose to evaluate whether you should invest in Navi Nifty 50 index fund or you should opt for a different Nifty 50 index fund. For me, Navi is one choice and Bandhan Nifty is another choice. Broadly, whenever I invest in Nifty 50, I try to split 50-50% of the amount. Apart from that, Zerodha Nifty large mid cap 250 is a recent introduction. Zerodha का mutual fund last year ही start हुआ है. I think 6-8 महीने हुए हैं उनको. So there's not a lot of past history around Zerodha, but again, taking a bet on Zerodha's mutual fund house, the kind of that they have brought into for their senior management is very very amazing. उनका जाके आप LinkedIn पे profile check करोगे, past track record check करोगे, the current CEO of Zerodha Mutual Fund, you can just look up to his profile and then you'll get a lot of confidence. So I'm just talking about specific funds which are there in my portfolio, and the kind of XIRR that they have generated is also shown in the screen. So these are the kind of XIRR that these funds have given me. नीचे के जो है DSP US Flexible and this Franklin US, this is something that I did very very small amount, very very minimal amount, so it doesn't really matter. यही मेरे churn में और rebalance में ये सारी चीजें निकल जाएंगी, ये सारे चुन्नू मुन्नू जो mutual funds है ये सारे निकल जाएंगे. In hybrid, I invest only in quant multi-asset. Multi-asset basically is a mutual fund which invests in debt, equity, and gold as a mix. So you don't get exposed to only equity. So while I say most of my mutual fund is into equity, if we look at the hybrid, roughly 8 to 10% of my mutual fund is also non-equity. So I really want to increase some allocation to multi-asset and probably also look at one more mutual fund in the multi-asset category just to diversify. So I don't want to put all my, so while I categorize my mutual funds as per spaces कि यार index को follow करेंगे, multi-asset होगा, flexi होगा, there would be a large cap, mid cap, small cap. So there would be those buckets of mutual funds. But within the buckets of mutual fund also, I try to keep one primary and one secondary mutual fund house, so that I'm also diversified. So for example, kabhi quant ka kuch aaya news, so I can sort of rotate and don't feel worried कि यार मेरा सारा पैसा quant में ही है. So that's the thing. Apart from that, equity के mostly mutual funds ये है. Again, as I said, there's a lot here, primarily because I have taken some wrong decisions around mutual funds also in the past. तो थोड़ा ओवर डाइवर्सिफाइड है, बट इस साल की मेरी म्यूचुअल फंड की रीबैलेंसिंग में काफी टोन डाउन हो जाएगा. आई विल प्रोबेबली फ्रॉम अ टोटल ऑफ 38 फंड्स आई विल कम डाउन टू प्रोबेबली हाफ ऑफ इट. तो अराउंड 20 के अराउंड फंड्स बचेंगे. दैट इज माई गोल. आई डोंट वांट टू स्टे इन्वेस्टेड इन 38-40 काइंड ऑफ फंड्स एट अ गिवन पॉइंट इन टाइम. अभी तक रिटर्न्स अच्छे आए हैं, वेल एंड गुड, बट आई रियली वांट टू रोटेट द मनी एंड पुट इट इनटू I want to cut the losers and move that money to my winners. As simple as